afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday Westside Wellbeing with myself, Jamie. Today we are going to be doing a Tabata session. So what we're going to be doing is ultimately we're going to work our way through multiple different exercises. We're going to do 3 sets of each exercise before we move on to the next one. We're going to put little interval breaks in between some of the sets and the exercises. And let's make sure we've all got some water on board. On that note, I'm going to come over here, take my water, pop it next to my mat, make sure we're nice and hydrated for today's session. But just to start with, we'll do a little bit of a warm-up. So we're just going to take the right arm over the torso and just take that left arm and just start to squeeze just above the elbow, really opening up into that shoulder joint. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. Nice, we'll switch it over. So we'll take that left arm over the torso. Just using the right arm to open up through that left shoulder for 3, 2, and 1. Nice, we're going to give the arms a little swing backwards and forwards. So again, we can just start to open up into that shoulder joint on both sides. Lovely stuff. Nice, we'll take some circles, nice big circles. We'll go 3 more in that forwards direction, then we'll go backwards with those shoulder rolls and circles for 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff. From here, we're going to stretch into our quadricep muscles on the front of the thighs. So we're going to take that right leg back behind us and just start to squeeze that heel into the glute. Place the hand on the hip or out nice and wide wherever you find that balance. Utilize a wall or an object that might be close to you. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. We'll release that. We'll switch to the other leg. And again, just find that balance, find that range. Utilize that spare arm to put it in the best position for yourself to keep that balance and just squeeze that glute into that heel for 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. We're going to take a nice wide stance, feet pointing out 45-degree angles. And from here, we're just going to hinge forward at the hips, keeping the torso nice and level. So we can just start to get a bit of a stretch into the hamstrings and into the adductors that run on the inside of the thighs. And we're going to lift it up. We're going to drop one knee down to the side. And we're just going to stay in this position for a moment. Nice. And from there, we'll switch it over to the other side. Good. Just allowing the hips to sink in towards that knee for 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. We're going to come up nice and tall. We're going to give the legs a little bit of a shake. Shake the legs off a little bit so we can open up into the knees and the ankles and the hip joints. If it's a little bit unusual, looks a little bit funny, see me doing this on screen. Lovely stuff, old jelly legs as we call it. So from here, we're going to go into our first exercise. We're going to start with some standing core exercises today. So we're just going to work into the obliques that run down the side of the torso, supporting that rib cage into the front and the rear core muscles. And all we're going to do, hands are going to come down by the side of the hips. And we're just going to slide one hand down the thigh and then just working it from left to right. We're going to go for 30 seconds. So 3, 2, and 1. We're just working it from one side to the other. Try not to take it as far as you can. Just allow that spine to start to mobilize a little bit before we then start taking those repetitions that little bit further, a little bit deeper. Nice. And just find a rhythm that works for you. And we're just going to go for 3, for 2, and for 1. Fantastic work, everyone. Nice. We'll take a little moment and then we're going to go into our second set. We're not going to take too much rest period from here. So we'll set ourselves in 3, 2, and 1. We are back in. So just working it from left to right, trying to keep that torso nice and elevated. Think about all that movement just coming through the rib cage, Keeping the hips nice and level, torso nice and long, and we're just going to go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff. Nice. We'll take a little moment there. We've got one more set to do. So we're going to set ourselves, and in 3, 2, and 1, we're back in, just working it from left to right. Now you should start to be feeling a little bit of contraction into those oblique muscles now as they start to tighten up and contract around that rib cage. Really good for supporting the spine and that posterior chain, allowing the torso to stay nice and upright, supporting that rib cage for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. We're going to take a little moment. We're going to keep it standing. From here, we're going to go into some standing cycle crunches. Towards me, fingertips going to come either side of the head, and we're just going to start to take that opposite elbow in towards that opposite knee. So we're working across the stomach wall, across the abdominal muscles, and still utilizing those oblique muscles. So we'll set ourselves, and in 3, 2, and 1, we are back in, this time with our cycle crunches. So again, just taking that opposite elbow in towards that opposite knee, nice and steady, nice and controlled, leaning into the torso slightly so we can get that contraction into the abdominal muscles. We're just going to go for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Excellent work, everybody. Nice. Take a little moment. We're going to take a little bit longer of a rest period this time. Again, we're putting quite a little bit of emphasis into that midriff and into those abdominal muscles and those core muscles. So we've had 15 seconds. We're just going to take a few more seconds. Nice big inhale. Nice big exhale. And we'll set ourselves in 3, 2, and 1, and we are back in. Nice again. So just taking our opposite elbow in towards that opposite knee. Nice and steady, nice and controlled. Taking it from left to right for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff. Nice. Take a little moment. Again, we'll take a little bit of a pause. Feel free to take some water on board if you wish to, before we go into our third set of those standing cycle crunches. Nice big inhale, nice big exhale. And we'll set ourselves third set on those standing cycle crunches in 3, 2, and 1. And we are back in. Nice. Again, just find a rhythm, find a tempo that works for you. No rush with these movements. The slower we go, the more contraction we actually get across that abdominal region. And we're just going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little bit of a moment. So we're going to work into the legs a little bit here. And this next one, we're going to go into some side shuffle squats. So ultimately, we'll step out to one side, we'll squat down, bring it back into the center, take it to the other side, and then work our way back down into that squat. No rush with these. Again, nice and steady, nice and controlled. So we'll set the timer, and in 3, 2, and 1, we are in. So we're just stepping into one side, working our way down into that squat movement. Again, find that rhythm that works for you. No rush here. First exercise, we're putting through the legs, really utilizing the quads and the hamstrings, working into the adductors. And we're just going to go for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. First set done. 2 sets to go. And we're just going to take about 30 seconds here with these movements. So just allowing our heart rate just to find that nice balance where it's a little bit increased, but we're not pushing it too hard to start with in today's session. So we're going to set ourselves into set 2, 3, 2, and 1. And we are back in, just working it from left to right. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice keeping that there. Finding that rhythm that works for yourself. We're going to go 5 more from here. So we're going to go for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Excellent work, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. 2 sets down, 1 more set to go. Finding that breath, nice inhales, nice exhales. Again, if you are joining us here today live, it's a little bit muggy today, so you are going to find that temperature is going to increase quite quickly. And again, the air is going to feel quite close. So we just got to find that balance. So we'll set ourselves 3rd set, and in 3, 2, and 1. Again, just working it from left to right through those side shuffle squats, really utilizing all the major muscle groups near enough in the legs as we find that rhythm, moving towards 10 seconds. So we're going to go 4 more, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment, because the next one we're going to go into, we're going to stay standing still, and we're going to utilize our upper body. So what we're going to do is we're going to imagine like we've got a set of dumbbells in the hands, and we're going to go into some curl and press movements. So we're just working through the arms, into the shoulders, and we're just going to set ourselves in 3, 2, and 1. We are back in. Nice. So just finding that range. Curl it up, palms come in, drive up, rotate through the shoulders, and palms go out. Again, as you go into that shoulder raise and shoulder press, feel free to really open up the hands. Again, we're not holding any objects here. So by opening up the hands, it also is going to allow us to open up through the finger joints, through the wrists, through the elbows. So if you're anything like me, you might get a few little pops and cracks coming as we work our way through that movement, releasing some of the tension. 4, 3. Nice, good control, everyone. 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff. Nice. Take a little moment. We went quite a while on that one. Got a lot more extra repetitions out of you. We did a nice 45-second hit there. So we're just going to take a little moment. We'll give ourselves another 15 seconds before we go into our second set. So, nice big inhale, nice big exhale. We'll set ourselves, and in 3, 2, and 1, we're curling through the biceps and then rotating through the shoulder joints so we can really start to engage all those shoulder muscles from the front, side and rear delts, working into the traps a little bit as well. That helps support the neck, curling through the biceps. 4, 5, 4, 4, 4, 3. Yeah, good control, everyone. Nice. 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. Again, got some extra repetitions out of you there. This is one of those movements we seem to be going a little bit longer than 30 seconds, but we've got it in us. Nice and strong. Yeah, into our third set we are going to go. So we're going to give ourselves a little 10 seconds here. Just start to set yourself, think about that movement we're about to go through. And in 3, 2, and 1, we are back in. Lovely stuff. Clenching through the fists and then really allowing the hands to open up if you wish to, as you drive the arms up and overhead. But by all means, if you want to keep the fists nice and engaged, no problem at all. That is ultimately going to keep the forearm muscles nice and engaged. So again, benefits of doing both ways, either opening the hands or keeping the fist nice and close. We're going to go 3 more repetitions. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. Take a little bit of water on board if you wish to. Feel free to move around the room for a moment or the space that you're working in. And again, just keep that blood flow going, keeps that heart rate where it needs to be until we move into our next exercise. So our next exercise, we're going to just go into some marching knees. So ultimately, we're going to lift one knee, place it, and back down with the other so we can really start to work into those hip flexor muscles. It's really going to be good for our hip mobility. And again, keeping that heart rate nice and increased. So we'll set ourselves in 3, 2, and 1. And we're in, so we're just marching from one side to the other. I like to use the opposite hand just to find that range so I can lift that knee nice and high, just up above that hip line. And again, just helps with that rhythm, a little bit like when we're walking or when we're running, moving through that opposite arm. Adds to the leg we're working through. And we're just going to go 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. We'll take about 20 seconds here before we take it into our second set. And again, just playing around with the rest periods here as well. Very much the thing when it comes to Tabata, you can manipulate those rest periods. You can make them nice and short. We can take them a little bit longer and anything in between. So we're going to set ourselves in 3, 2, and 1. We are into our second set of those knee lifts. And just marching it from one leg to the other. And again, just moving through that leg with some intent. So we're really lifting into that hip flexor muscle. Yeah, we're just going to go 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice to work, everyone. So from there, you should start to feel it in the front of the hips, right in those hip flexor muscles. Again, we're quite a short muscle, but also does travel down into the quadriceps, comes up into the abdominal muscles. So it takes a lot of loads bearing through the hips, considering the size. So it's always a good area to try and target and to develop. Helps really support into building that quad strength. And again, into the base of our abdominal muscles, right into our transverse abdominals that live right in the base of our pelvis, in the base of our hips. So into our third set in 3, 2, and 1. And we are back in. Nice. Into our third set of those marching knees. And as always, find a rhythm. Find a tempo that works for you. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Let's keep that there. Taking it from left to right. 4, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. So we're going to stay standing. We haven't gone down to the ground just yet. We're going to keep it standing. We're going to go into some calf raises. Again, I'm paying a lot of attention to a lot of the smaller muscle groups today. All those supporting muscle groups, don't get enough credit, but they're really important to help work and develop and strengthen. So we're ultimately going to go into the calves. Again, we're really just lifting up onto the tiptoes and sinking those heels back down. We'll set ourselves in 3, 2, and 1. I'm just going to bring my hands onto the hips. Again, it's just a way that allows me to focus on keeping the torso nice and tall. Also allows me to feel that movement that's coming through the hips. So ideally on these calf raises, we don't want any movement through the hips. All the work's coming through the calves by lifting up onto the toes. We're going to go 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and for 1. Nice work. We'll take a little rest period. My advice on this one is definitely move it around. Allow that blood to flow back through the lower half of the legs, through the calves, through the ankles and into the feet. We'll just take a few more moments here before we go into our second set. So I'm going to turn myself onto the side, and in 3, 2 and 1, we are back into those calf raises, just really finding that range, really trying to lift nice and high onto the tiptoes so we can feel that engagement into the calf muscles. Lovely stuff, everyone. Almost there. We got 10 seconds. So from here, we're going to go for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Nice work, everyone. Take a little moment again. Shuffle yourself around. Stamp the feet down a little bit. Again, allow that blood flow to back right through the bottom half of the legs. Before we take it into our third set, we'll set ourselves, and in 3, 2, and 1, into our third set, lifting up onto the toes. And again, by all means, have a play around with it. Try and lift primarily through the big toe for a few repetitions, and then switch it more to the other toes. So we're just covering those 2 muscle groups that build up into the calves. Again, really good for that ankle strength. We're just going to go 3 more for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment, take a little bit of water on board if you wish to. So from here, we are going to bring it down onto the ground. So what we're going to go into here is we're going to bring the arms out in front of us, and we're going to go into some kneeling push-ups. By all means, you can bring it to that full plank push-up if you wish to, but today I'm just going to keep it onto the knees for everyone. But again, this is your workout. If you want to intensify that slightly, you can bring it into that plank position. So what we're going to do is make sure we walk the hands out either side of the mat or shoulder width apart, maybe just a little bit wider. From there, you're going to sink the hips forward, so we've got that nice straight line all the way from the shoulders down to the knees, which allows us to still work within that full range of movement, putting the emphasis into the chest and the triceps. So we're going to set ourselves, and in 3, 2, and 1, we're into our first set of those kneeling push-ups. But as I said before, if you want to take it into that full plank position, be my guest, really go for it. Lovely stuff, moving towards 10 seconds. Almost there, still with me. You're going to feel these ones. We're going to go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Carefully feel free to sit back onto the heels or put yourself into a comfortable position. We're going to take a good 30 seconds this time between these sets. So again, focusing on your breathing, nice big inhales, nice big exhales. We're going to slowly start to work our way back out into that press up position. And in 3, 2, and 1, we are back in, nice and steady, nice and controlled, allowing the elbows to flare out to the side, working across the chest muscles into the triceps. Going to be utilizing the biceps as well as we come down into that contraction position. And we're just going to go for 3, for 2, and for 1. Nice work, everyone. Lovely stuff. 2 sets down. 1 more set to go on our push-ups. If you wish to, you can come back into that standing position. Move around for a little moment. We've got a good 20 seconds or so before we take it into our third set. So just focus in on that breathing, nice big inhales, Nice big exhales. We're going to bring ourselves back down onto the mat. We'll start to put ourselves in that push-up position. And in 3, 2, and 1, we are back into our third set. Working through that full range of movement. Nice, good work, everyone. Almost there. We're going to go for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. Heart rate should be nice and increased by now. Getting nice and warm in this humidity that is today. Or depending on whenever you're joining us. Hopefully, even without the humidity, that heart rate is going to start increasing. Body temperature is going to start increasing. Burning off some of those calories, building in some of that strength and mobility, removing some of that stress. And we're just going to take a little moment from here. Feel free again to work your way around the space that you're working in. Before we take it into our next exercise, because that next exercise we are going to bring it down back onto the ground, and we're going to work into that core area again. So the first movement we're going to go into is we're going to go into some alternate leg lifts. So the legs are going to go out nice and long in front of us, and from there what we're going to do is we're going to lift one leg up, replace it back down, and then switch it into that other side. So we'll set ourselves in 3, 2, and 1. Into those leg lifts. Again, this is really going to help build into that quad strength, into that hip flexor strength, working into that hip mobility and strength. You're going to feel a little bit of a stretch into the hamstring on the back of the leg. And again, just working into that base of that core, into those transverse abdominals. For 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff. A nice pull the feet in. Take a little moment. Release the tension from the legs and the hips as we bring it into more of that relaxed position. And we're going to set ourselves to get ready to go into our second set in 3, 2, and 1. We are back in. So again, just finding that range. If you can't bring the leg all the way up to 90, no problem at all. Just find that range where we can lift it. So again, still working and developing into those target areas that I mentioned on that previous set. We're just going to go for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment. One more set to go. 2 sets down, 1 set to go. So take the opportunity just to focus in on the breathing. Nice big inhales. Nice big exhales. We're going to place the hands down by the sides. We'll extend the legs back out in front of us so they're nice and long. And in 3, 2, and 1, we are back in. Just working it from right to left through those leg lifts. Good, strong work, everyone. Nice. Let's keep that there. Where are we time-wise? Nice. We're going to go for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Nice. Take a little moment, everyone. We're going to come to a seated position. So from here, not so much movement, but again, we're going to focus into our mobility. So this time we're going to be, bless me, apologise. So this time we're going to be stretching into the hamstrings. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit up nice and tall. The legs are going to be out in front of us. And all I want you to do from there is slowly start to slide the hands down the shins, Feel free to take hold of the ankles. If you can take the fingertips all the way to the toes, feel free to do so. That allows you to really lengthen into those hamstrings. But again, we might be working with a little bit more restricted mobility. So wherever you can take hold of those legs, just so we're really opening up through the base of the spine, lengthening into those hamstrings. And we're just going to hold it here for a moment. Good. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, you might be able to work those hands that little bit further. Really starting to stretch into the hamstrings. Really try and release the knees and the quads. A lot of people tend to tense it up through the front of the thighs here. So if they are, just try and relax them for 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, very nice. So from here, we're going to go into what we call our static butterflies. I'm going to rotate myself around slightly. You bring the soles of the feet in together. And from there, find that comfy position. If you want to squeeze them in that little bit deeper, you can either hold at the ankles or pitch forward slightly and take hold of the toes. Again, just depending on that range of movement and mobility that we can work with. And again, feel free to apply a little bit of pressure through the inside of the legs. That's really going to open up into those groin muscles, into the hip flexor and the adductor. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. From there, we're going to extend the right leg out to the side. And then what I want you to carefully do is lean your weight into that left knee, trying to bring it nice and flat onto the ground. So again, just opening up into the hips here, but just coming at them from slightly different angles, from one leg to the other, putting a lot more intent into this left hip. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. We'll bring that right leg in, we'll extend the left leg out, and then carefully just start to lean the weight into that right knee. And we're just going to hold for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. So the next movement we're going to go into, we're going to try and utilize the arms and the core and the shoulders, pretty much the whole body as well, utilizing the legs. So we're going to plant the feet onto the ground where they can be nice and comfortable. Fists are going to come just behind the hips. And from here, what we're going to do is we're just going to try and lift our hips and our glutes off the floor. And we're just going to hold in that position there. You can walk the feet in a little bit further if you wish to, if we've got the mobility. Nice, and we're just holding in that static position. Again, taking all the pressure away from the lower back, really utilizing the triceps here and the shoulders. Opening up into the hips from the back, but contracting into the hips from the front for 3, 2, and 1. Nice, we're going to sit back down. Lengthen the legs out in front of you. Give the legs a little bit of a shake. We're going to come back into that position. And in 3, 2, and 1, we are going to lift those hips just off that floor again. Really utilizing that arm strength, especially the triceps and into the shoulders in that static hold position. And we're just going to hold for 3, for 2, and for 1. Nice. Sit the hips back onto the floor. Again, as you can see, it's not a huge range of movement, but as soon as we take the weight or bear the weight into those arms, really helps build into that static tricep and shoulder strength. Into our third set, we're going to bring the feet, and in 3, 2, and 1, we're going to lift the hips. And again, we're just going to hold in that position, really see if we can pull the shoulders back, lift the chest slightly, really engaging through the arms. You're going to feel this one, your arms might start to be shaking, and we're just going to hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice, lovely stuff, everyone. So again, we're going to come back to a standing position just so we can move around the room a little bit. Take a little bit of water on board. You've somewhat seen that next movement we're going to go into in that position. And again, just shake through the hips a little bit. Give the legs a little bit of a shake as well. Because from here, again, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the feet kind of hip width apart. So the heels are hip width apart. Toes are going to be flared out 45-degree angles. And what you do is just allow the knees to flare out over the feet. Sink the hips down. And we're just going to see if we can stay into this position. You can put the elbows into the inside of the thighs and the knees, apply a little bit of pressure to open that up. But again, if this is a little bit too much, no problem at all. Bring the fingertips to the ground, just giving you that extra level of stability and balance. Focusing on a lot of hip mobility today. Again, along with focusing into those smaller muscle groups. Something a little bit different from myself today. Yeah, I want you to take a nice big inhale, nice big exhale, and squeeze those elbows a little bit deeper into the thighs if you can. Really stretching into the adductors. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. We're going to bring the hands onto the floor, and what I want you to do is see if you can extend your right leg out to the side. Again, going to use the fingertips. If anyone does want to carefully bring the hands up onto the hips to find that balance, but it takes a little bit of control. For me, feel free to keep the fingertips in there, keep it nice and stable. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. We'll bring that right foot back into on the tiptoes, and we extend that left leg out to the side. Good, really allowing the hips to sink into that heel. So we're really sitting into that right heel, which is really going to allow that left hip to open up nice and deep. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. We're going to bring it back into the center. And from here, we're going to open the stance out a little bit wider, plant the feet onto the floor, and from here, we're going to come up to a standing position and we're going to work our way back down. So again, just going into another variation of a squat here, something like a frog squat. So the heels are kind of just outside that hip width apart, toes flared out at 45-degree angles. Really good for the knee mobility here. So the knees flare out over the feet. All the movements coming through the hips. We sink the hips down, lift the hips up. We're going to go 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Take a little moment, take a bit of water on board, as we are going to do 2 more sets of those frog stance squats. So we're going to slowly set ourselves again. Feet just outside hip width apart, or the heels just outside hip width apart. Toes flared out at 45-degree angles. And in 3, 2, and 1, we sink the hips down, flare the knees out to the side if you want to take it as low as we can, and then lifting all the way back up. Nice and steady, nice and controlled, working within that range. And as you start to work through the repetitions, you might find you might be able to take it a little bit deeper, a little bit further. And we're going to go for 4, 4, 3. Yeah, strong work here on nice. 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff. All right, nice. One more set to go. Give the legs a little bit of a shake. Again, feel free to move around the space that we're working in here. A little backwards and forwards. We've got one more set of those frog squats. We're going to take a little moment here, focusing on the breathing. Nice big inhale, nice big exhale. And we're going to slowly set ourselves so the heels come just outside hip width apart. Feet point out 45-degree angles. And in 3, 2, and 1, we're into our third set. So as you can see on these ones, not taking it quite as low as I was before. So again, you can start to find that range, and as you start to work through the repetitions, you might find you can take it a little bit deeper, maybe bringing it all the way down and squeezing it all the way up. Really utilizing that flexibility and strength within the quad muscles. And we're going to go 4-5, 4-4. Again, you can play around with that depth. 4-3, 4-2, and 4-1. Nice work, everyone. Take a little moment, take some water on board. As from here, we're going to take it back onto the mat. So we're just going to go into a little bit more mobility again here. Spend a lot of time on that mobility, especially around the hips. But what we're going to do is we're going to lift that right leg up, take hold of it just behind the back of the knee. And from here, we're going to hold that position, and then I would just want you to start extending. So I'd probably say not right behind the knee. Take hold of it just at the base of the hamstring. And we're just going to start to lengthen that leg up and then bend it back down. We lengthen the leg up and bend it back down. This is really going to lengthen through the hamstring, but then contract into the hamstring. But again, really lengthening and contracting into the quadricep at the same time. So we're just going to go 4-3, 4-2, and 4-1. Nice. You probably start to feel quite a burn in the thigh, a real lengthening through that hamstring. And then so we're going to switch to the opposite side. Place the hands not right behind the back of the knee, but just a few inches below, where you can start to really feel the bulk of the hamstring kick in. And in 3, 2, and 1, we're just going to start to lengthen through the knee joint, activating into that hamstring, into that quad muscle. And we're just going to go, really good way to build into that knee joint strength as well without putting any pressure through it. We'll go 4-3, 4-2, and 4-1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. So we're going to start to work and open up into our spinal mobility a little bit here for the last few minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the left knee. You're going to take your right hand, place it on the outside of your left knee, and I just want you to slowly roll that knee over onto the hips, keeping the hips nice and stacked. Feel free to take that left hand back behind you, or left arm back behind you, and we're just going to hold in this position. This is really going to stretch through the base of the back again, really stretching through the obliques, getting that nice natural rotation into the spine. Focusing on your breathing, nice big inhales, nice big exhales. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely stuff. So from here, we're going to lift that right knee, take that left hand on the outside of that right knee and slowly roll the hips over. Again, allowing the head to turn the opposite way to the knee. I appreciate on that last one I didn't, because I stayed looking at you guys on the camera. But again, that's just going to give you that extra length. It's really going to help stretch through these glute muscles as well, as long as working into that spinal mobility, trying to keep the hips nice and stacked. And we're just going to hold 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. From there, we're going to carefully come back up into that standing position. Again, take your time with this one, because we put a bit of rotation and pressure through that spine. But all we're going to do to finish off, we're going to stand on the mat. Hands are going to come down. We're just going to inhale, lift the arms out laterally, really lifting through that chest, pulling the belly button in. Exhale and down. We inhale and lift that lateral point, pull the belly button in, lift the chest and down. Last one, inhale and lift, pulling the belly button in, lifting that chest. So we're really working into that spinal mobility, engaging into the core, open up through the shoulders and relax. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Excellent work today. Nice little Tabata session with a little bit of a difference today. We put a lot more focus into those smaller muscle groups that help support the larger muscle groups and help support a lot of the joints, and then put a lot of focus into that mobility around the joints and muscle lengthening. So fantastic work, everyone. Have a lovely afternoon, evening, morning or day, wherever you're joining us from. We look forward to seeing you again next week for another Wednesday Westside Wellbeing with ourselves, Coaches for Change. Have a good day, everyone. Goodbye.